Well,
Yes,
not really
indeed.
crying, but I know what I meant.
All right, looks
Yeah,
like we're off.
So good
All
luck
right,
to
so
both of our runners today.
Yes, good luck to the runners, and get relax there, chat. Get ready for this one. So, in the beginning, we find Shantae asleep. She's woken up by the town, sounding like it's under attack. She's going to be running outside really quick. Runs into her friends Sky and Bolo, who give her a couple of items to kind of help her along her way, knowing that she's been stripped of her powers. And as you can see right out of the gate, we immediately put those boots to work. Shantae just breaks right out into a sprint and starts charging through everything. And one thing that you're going to see both of these runners doing most likely is trying to hit a couple of these soldiers. And while they're doing that, even though you notice that it pauses the screen, they're trying to get some random drops from these guys. And there's a couple of really good items that you can potentially get from these soldiers. So they're going to try to not hit too many, obviously, because they'll be slow, but hope that they could get at least one of those drops, which would be a big advantage later on in some of the bosses throughout this run.
And yeah, so early game, hopefully if they can get one of the rarest drops out of the black suited guards, the monster milk, that will help them to actually do a 2-cycle on our first boss of the run, the Ammo Baron. Who is pretty much has RNG cycles to him, so that milk will especially help him out if they can. Or they could always hold it off for a future boss, if they so please to.
Yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't look like either one of these runners received an item through the charge, so we'll be handling this guy pretty standard. Again, we've got not a lot we can do about this one, as Turkey alluded to. This guy has a bit of RNG. He has a couple of things he can do. Both runners getting a red ball instantly, though. That's like the best thing that you could see. Holy cow. And then they both go immediately into a... Oh my god, they both have the same exact RNG. What is happening right now?
This is not normal.
This is not normal at all, but they are getting the exact same RNG for both runners. So this run, no one's got a distinct advantage at this point. That is amazing to see.
I mean, yeah, you don't usually see 2 runs going off and getting the exact same RNG at any point of a run usually, but yeah, both starting off with a great Ammo Baron, looked like around a 210 marker, so yep, that's a pretty good time to start with. Now we're just going to be moving over to a pretty lengthy cutscene here. Shantae's going to be taking a bath. Unfortunately, she doesn't realise that she doesn't own a bathtub, and well, yeah.
And antics shall ensue. So I want to take a moment to give shout-outs to Trap Tub. It's probably the funnest thing that we laugh about as runners in this particular game. But I still want to point out that I think Risky is probably the most buff character you ever know. I mean, I don't know if you've ever tried to lift something full of water plus a person, Turkey, but you know that's got to be heavy. And she just easily moves it over to Uncle Mimic's shop here to show Shantae that her uncle apparently is up to no good.
Well, I usually carry myself, so I'm used to carrying things full of water.
Fair enough, fair enough. All right, so what's happening now is this dark magic comes in and kind of takes over one of Risky's henchmen known as a Tinkerbat. Turns it into a Cacklebat, and this will be our next little fight here. And this will be the only one of these that will kill in the run. You'll see a couple more, but these guys are part of how you get the good ending of this particular game. So what you would normally do is go around, kill them all, collect this dark magic, suck it in with the lamp, and then when you get to the end of the game, as long as you've collected all 20 of them, then you would be treated to some very special stuff. But again, 80%, we're just going to kill this one because it's mandatory and move along our way. So what you'll see now is the runners are going to go talk to Sky and borrow her library card, and then go and do what we call a mandatory save. And again, in this particular game, it's the second one, the only 2 actually, this one and Risky's Revenge, that actually require you to save before you leave town. If you try to skip this, unfortunately the guard at the edge of town will not let you pass, no matter how hard you try. So it's just necessary to move forward.
This way forward is a way of making sure you have a safe journey.
Yeah, I guess at least at the beginning. All right, Turkey, you want to talk about Scarecrow Fields, Turkey?
So yeah, the Scarecrow Fields usually we'd be running straight through, or they're going to be running straight through all the scarecrows, or as they can. They're looking to try and get a couple of early RNG drops to help them throughout the run. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there's a few things that they could pick up. So the main ones they want to look for are super pipe balls and monster milks, preferably, but they're both pretty rare to come across. I mean, getting a super pipe ball early at this point of the run will save them some gems, because they would normally pick up a super pipe ball from the shop. But if RNG plays in their favour, that'll give them a little bit of an advantage and some extra pocket change.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mijati, who got an extra shot at it for taking that knockback in that pit, he still didn't get anything for it. So now what they're doing is they're down these sewers, and these snakes have a food item called Flush Pops. And we're taking advantage of a little thing with the snake's hitboxes, where when you kill one, the hitbox lingers for a bit. And within its extremely tight space with a saber bounce, you're able to hit that hitbox 3 times before it actually disappears. And every time that you strike it, it allows, or it actually rolls the RNG, and the Flush Pops are a 50% drop rate. So what they're trying to do is get the bare minimum of 3, which is needed to get the key from Bolo. And once they get that, they're able to move on. If they get any extras, they can kind of hang on to those for some animation skips that we'll be talking about in a bit. But it looks like both runners didn't have too much trouble. I think I saw Mijati get knocked into the next room by the lower snake, but it wasn't a huge time loss there. So both runners very tight still, just only a few seconds apart as they go visit the Royal Palace and get our first map.
Yeah, that will, once they get the first map, they'll make their way back, hopefully trying to get a few more drops as well before they take the shop. And that first map will allow them to enter the next island of the run, Saliva Island, where they'll start making their way around to gain themselves a little bit of a step, shall we call it.
Yep. So one thing to point out about this, while we're watching the runners return back to Scuttletown, even though this game is considered Metroidvania, it started to add in the hub world system, where it makes it a little bit more like Mega Man X in regards to at least choosing the stage that you would go through. So I think it's a little mix of both elements. You have to do some return visits with new skills and items that you get to be able to progress the story further, get certain items that you want to collect or need to collect for story. Mijati looks like he got blanked on scarecrows again on the way back. The RNG has not been favorable, at least from the drop perspective. And Terra, same thing. So neither one of them getting anything from the scarecrows. So right now this would be what we call a bare bones run. And looks like they both turned in their library card, which is always a good thing to do, to return the things you borrow. I don't know a friend of mine that's ever given me $100 for returning something, but hey, it's nice of Sky to do that for us. So what they're actually going to be buying here is just the first couple of necessary items. Pirate Flares ×3. They'll need 3 of those for this part, and 1 Super Pike Ball for safety in case they don't get any RNG drops to be used for an upcoming boss.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit later on for the Super Pike Ball aspect. The Pirate Flares themselves are used for being able to warp us back to the pirate ship, as long as you're anywhere in the map within an outside playing field. So that's just going to help save a lot of time when it comes to exiting out of the respective islands to be able to move on forward to the next.
Yep. All right, so Saliva Island, it's a lot going on here. A lot of sea-based creatures, obviously. At least shore-based. You got mermaids, you got crabs. But the main thing we're really here for, obviously, is what we call a den of evil. And Mijati just leaving. Terra coming up to these 2 girls who came for the hot springs. They're disappointed to find it very dry, but it was nice of them to bring ham. And with a few whips of our hair to help kind of rotate it around that spit to cook it, you get the ham steak. On Mijati's screen there, you're probably wondering why the pause is. Well, it's important because it actually helps to skip a little bit of a cutscene trigger with the Gigalummox there. Saves a good few seconds. Terra trying to get the cut, didn't quite do it. He missed it by a few pixels as well. But it looks like both runners are getting the animation skip, at least. So the Gigalummox just pretty much instantly drools rather than wasting a few seconds blinking its eyes open first.
Yeah, and if they was able to get the cut, what would have happened was they would have triggered off the Gigalummox's text box while slipping off of the edge, and that actually skips the animation of the ham stink traversing over to the Gigalummox's nose saving a few more seconds as well. So if you can get both of them, it's a nice good time save.
Yep. So after a good saliva bath, then Shantae is treated by the Petrify spell because of the sun glinting off the milky white skin of our two friends there. We're going to take this to this old pirate dude, and, well, you see what happens there on Mijati's screen with that. I still question why he thought a Petrify spell would help cure something, but, you know, who are we to judge?
Who are we indeed?
All right, so Mijati's screen, what you're seeing right now is he's going to be entering a little Easter egg that WayForward put into this game. This particular dungeon that he's going through is actually a replica of the one from the original Shantae from the Game Boy Color era. They've obviously updated the monsters in here, but the room tiles and textures is pretty much exactly the same as the Game Boy Color. The layout is pretty much exactly the same. There's just some minor differences in drops. But Turkey, if you want to explain why they're in here.
Right, so yeah, they've come in here to collect a couple of keys. Thankfully, keys are not actually mandatory to an individual dungeon, so they're basically going to be stockpiling these 2 keys up here, which they're going to be saving through. They'll collect a few more keys later on in other dungeons as well. It's going to be able to save them a good amount of time.
Mijati missing that mouth cannon and
a couple islands further on.
Sorry, Turkey. Mijati just missed that mouth cannon and took a drop in the water. And he's got to traverse back from the beginning of the dungeon and get back over there to that. He needs to get his second key still. So that's going to be a little bit of time. That brings Terra a little bit closer, who's about one room behind now. This is going to be shaping up to be quite the interesting race right at this moment.
Thankfully, even with that fall, I mean, if it was to have exited and got one of the other intended keys en route, it's actually still faster to, even with that drop, to be able to just come back around, go back in, get the key, rather than spend the time to get the intended key that you would want in the respective dungeon.
Yeah, Terra trying for the animation. Yeah, Terra trying for the animation skip there. Unfortunately, didn't quite get it. So what he was trying to do was use a consumable item, either food or potion. And if you do it just right, you're able to override the collection animation with just her consuming the item, which is faster. So you really want to have as many items as possible in the run just to save a good couple of seconds per item by skipping that animation. All right, we got Mijati entering the Wetman room right now. So what you're going to see is he's going to start out with some cannon shots, but then he switches to Scimitar. And even though it does 1 less point of damage, the advantage of the Scimitar is it actually hits both of the Wetmen, whereas a cannoning will only hit one of them. And he's had no trouble with that room whatsoever. So he's going to move on and come up to our first boss. And Turkey, if you would, please talk about Cyclops Plant.
Yeah, so Cyclops Plant will come in 2 phases. First phase, what they're going to try and do is similar akin to the snakes in the sewers. He's going to try and get himself trapped in between the roof and the Cyclops Plant's eyeball to score major damage to take him down. The second phase, again, he's going to line himself up either side of the room. He's going to, again, cannon himself up, and he's going to try and get himself trapped in between the eye and the roof again to score as much damage as humanly possible, and hopefully he'll take him down pretty quick.
Yeah, and it looks like Mijati struggled a little bit on that first phase there. It took him a couple of attempts to get up there. Terra knocking it out of the park, getting it instantly, which is good to see. But neither one of them, well, at least Mijati, not quite getting the quickest possible kill. He's going to take an extra phase of bouncing around here, but he should be down very quickly, or very soon. Terra also not quite getting the most optimal, but still a decent fight. So we're still looking at a very close race right now between these two runners.
We are indeed. They'll be making their way out, hopefully, to next island. Not a favourite of mine, personally, but to Spiderweb Island. You'll probably notice they're not going to be flaring out at this island either. They're going to be saving that flare for something that's for another island that's actually going to be more time save worthy compared to this island. So you only save a few seconds using a flare to exit out of saliva.
Yeah, considering when you have the animation of the flare versus how quickly it takes to just run out of here, it's very minimal to use a flare here. I mean, if they had an extra one, they might think about it, but in the overall scheme, they've got better things to use that flare for, so it's better.
I believe it's roughly around the 4-second marker to flare out of saliva versus not flaring out.
All right, so we have both runners coming up to the dock here in Spiderweb Island. And obviously, you'd think you'd see a bunch of spiders, but instead we're going to be welcomed immediately by a bunch of zombies. And probably one of the worst enemies in the game followed, these ghosts here. So these ghosts, as you see them, they don't always appear in the same spot. They have like a certain area that they can appear in, but where they appear at is a little bit of RNG. And these things, they do 2 points of damage. So it's a little bit of a damage increase over everything we've dealt with up to this point. And they can juggle you pretty bad. Well, I wouldn't say juggle, but they can knock you all the way back down to the bottom, and it's no fun when that happens. And both runners just picking up the fossil, which will be used later, so it'll be very important. But next we come up to, I would argue, Turkey's favorite part of the run. We're gonna find Roddy Tops here, and Turkey, I'll let you talk about your favorite part of the run.
Oh, aren't you a darling?
I know.
Alright, so Run Run Roddy Tops is essentially this game's version of an auto-scroller. Pretty much, they cannot die in this area, but they can only take one hit, which will evaporate them essentially, and it'll take them back to the beginning of the screen that they're on. So, ideally, they don't want to get hit, for obvious reasons. Sorry, I'm kind of stuttering my words here, but yeah. So, we've got a bunch of enemies here. We've got a bunch of hands. There's going to be some tongues coming into play, where they're going to be trying to cut around and through, just to try and save that extra bit of time. Hopefully, Gatekeeper won't troll either of our runners either.
And it didn't. Gatekeeper let them both pass, so it was actually really good to see. And Terra's taking it a little safer than Mijati. He didn't quite get as many of the tongue skips, but still progressing very well.
You also notice the second tongue room, they did a little shuffle after they've dropped down. That's to manipulate the tongue at the far bottom of the screen. So that tongue will drop down. So if they cut past the first tongue, they should be able to get past the second. I noticed Terra didn't do the shuffle there, but he's got through safely.
All right, Tails Kirby, just to answer your question, what makes this Old Spice? There's a notorious YouTube video out there that was done by somebody to this song, and they use the Terry Crews Old Spice commercial snippets as lyrics. It's quite amusing. I highly recommend you look it up. I think it's called Run Run Body Wash.
That's correct.
It's a quite interesting video, and any of us runners have been pretty much brought into the know of this particular video at one point or another, so that's why we call it Old Spice.
Yeah, I remember when you put me into it, I got instantly hooked, laughing my backside off.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious.
Old Spice body wash gives you power, and so on and so forth.
All right, so I did not see a stake jump from Mijati, so I'm questioning the validity of this run. But I don't blame him. It's a safety strat, and we're in a race, so I'm not gonna.
Invalid.
Yeah, Terra also taking it safe as well. It's fine. It's a race. I'll cut him some slack.
I'm sure we can do that. But yeah, they both passed the tombstones room, and we know which tombstones have the ability to stand up, but when they actually do is down to RNG. So, as a safety, we always jump over the certain ones that we know for a fact that have the potential to stand up.
Yep. Mijati saving a few frames by doing that jump off of through those holes there. If you just run directly off, you lose a few frames because Shantae just bumps and then takes a second to slide down. It's not like a splatter effect, but for it just whatever reason the collision holds her up just a little bit. So getting that little hop through there just saves just a minuscule amount of time. And now we've moved on to our favorite guys called the Stevens. If we listen to Cabbage Game, I like to just call them ghost snakes, but there are many other more interesting names within the community. And Gates of Hell were open for Mijati, so he's super fortunate. Those pillars are on a global timer as far as we can tell, and it's no guarantee on exactly where they're at when you actually do this entire segment. So getting a distinct advantage, even did the taco jump at the end over the last ghost snake, so he's just progressing right along. Gates of Hell closed for Terra, unfortunately, so he does have to wait that extra cycle. And getting a little trolled there. Yep, had a projectile in the way, couldn't exactly go for it, so again had to wait another cycle. Oh, Mijati not getting the one cycle though after the tongue dropper. But coming up to this last part, which can be really tricky. Okay, only one of the tombstones moved. It was half of the what I call the hug of death. If both those tombstones stand up and start to pincer you, you've got a very minimal chance of getting out of the way without taking a death there. So Mijati clear and free and about ready to take Roddy home to her brother Abner. And Terra is in the last bit here, so we'll see how he does.
Yeah, that last room testing both runners' knowledge and ability of everything that they encountered throughout run as well.
Yep. And Terra makes it through as well. Same scenario. The left tombstone moved up into the right, but the right one took a second. So again, it's strange, but I feel like both these runners are nearly on the same seed. Although I've seen Terra get a few more food drops than Mijati has so far. So there are some slight variances here, but both runners pretty much running on an even keel. Mijati has recently just gave over the squid oil to Poe, who's used that to repair the wagon, and he thanks you by giving you a shriveled thing, which smells. Sorry, just smells. But we're immediately going to dump that off to this very hungry dungeon.
Maybe one day it won't smell. I don't know.
Maybe one day. We do hope it doesn't smell at some point. All right, so neither runner opting for the Wetman key in Spittle Maze. Turkey, if you want to talk about the key that they'll be getting here in Cackle Tower.
So yeah, there could be one of two keys that you can gather, but there is an advantage of going for the key in the lower portion of Cackle Tower. Both roughly similar in time length, but with an addition of a pipe ball, if one of our runners has it, be able to eliminate a couple of seconds off. But the main purpose is that there's a few of the skeletons they can run into for a potential pipe ball or super pipe ball drop, but it's the Bat Lady that they'll be most interested in, who could potentially give you a super monster milk, a super pipe ball, or a pirate flare. And both runners, I believe, will hopefully be looking to get the monster milk, or the super monster milk.
Yeah, monster milk
to
would be the
eliminate
most
eliminate some item management for a bit later.
Ooh, Mijati got the pirate flare. You'd think he was me or something. Yeah. I tend to get more pirate flares than anything from that monster, which is it's an okay item, but it's not the ideal. It's definitely not what you're looking for. So
it's the most unlikely drop to get as well, isn't it?
It is the lowest in the drop table, but it seems to be the one I get the most often, which is it's disheartening. We'll see what Terra gets here as he's just now starting his his fight with Bat Lady. Both having really good fights though with this creature, although Terra taking the super monster milk. Nice, Terra. So Terra getting the more optimal drop in this regard. That puts them at a little bit more advantage. It's one less little bit of RNG or potential shopping you'll have to do later. Mijati, all he gets out of that is maybe a couple of seconds not talking to Abner towards the end of the run to get a free flare. But we'll see what he decides to do to use that. Both runners have a little bit of freedom here, so we shall see how this goes.
With that super monster milk drop as well for Terry, he may consider actually picking up all the flares he needs for the run at the next shop that he does, and that could give him a chance to eliminate a shopping list as well, as you mentioned. So that should that might be going through his mind, but he may still play safe yet.
Yeah, so as we talk about these drops and what the RNG is giving, just so you know, there's specific things that we're looking for, but there's a lot of flexibility in this run, and it really comes down to, one, the knowledge of the runners, and then the secondary, their confidence level with these bosses. Speaking of confidence level, by the way, Mijati, starting with the spider here, doing a halfway decent job of staying within that hitbox and doesn't use his auto potion. Really good fight out of Mijati for that. So what was going on there is there's a stun lock technique that he used. As you're within a monster or about to get hit with a monster, if you whip your hair, rather than knocking Shantae back and onto the ground, you're able to kind of like lock her in place. And when you do that whip, it actually recharges the jumps, it recharges the cannon, and then you're able to stay in there. So ideally staying in the hitbox of the Empress Spider allows the pike ball to get in some extra damage and take that down. So really good fight out of Mijati, and we're going to see how Terra is doing. He's taking a little safer, but not quite getting the stun locks, but getting a lot of drops. So he's ignoring some of the fireball phases and the phases where she drops her little kids, although that fireball got away. But still looking like it's an okay fight. Yeah, it's actually a really good fight. So both runners did not lose their auto potion, which means they still have that extra safety net. And speaking of that, I've not seen anyone take a safety save as of yet. So We'll have we'll keep going there. Again, Terra's just keeping pretty good pace with Mijati, and Mijati is now currently starting his place on 10-Line Island. Turkey, if you want to kind of talk about what's going to go on early here.
Right, well, 10-Line Island is pretty much one of the main important areas for our item management. They'll be looking to get both of, well, as much of the item management as they can throughout 10-Line. Up first, though, they're going to be making their way to a good friend, the Squid Baron, who's a little down in the dumps. Came on holiday just to find out nothing's really going on, unfortunately.
Which Mijati just did. So, and he got a monster milk on the way. He actually killed the first Scorp gal and got himself a monster milk, super monster milk for the trouble.
So that brings them even 11 fields in the milk department.
It does, yep. We got Terra now doing a charge as well. 2 monster milks for Terra through the cactus charge. That's actually really good RNG as well. And he's going to opt to go after that Scorp gal. In the meantime, Mijati's just, don't mind him. Sky's dad is just killing Sky's boyfriend. And we're just going to quickly take some evidence from the scene of the crime and vamoose really quick. No, actually what they're doing is these X-ray glasses that were given by Squid Baron allow us to see through things, obviously. That's what they're for. And we're collecting these codes that we're going to need to progress further in the story. It is kind of unfortunate that Joe just happened to be there at that time, although I believe, and it is alluded to in the story, that Sky's dad loves to do that a few times. Apparently, it's alluded to that it's happened more than once.
Yeah, just to touch up something that was noticed in the chat. I don't know if you caught it. Asking about the Wii U being a bit faster. Unfortunately, it is not. It's actually one of the slower versions. For this category in particular, is about 30-second difference between the two variants. It's mainly down to the screen transitions going from island to ship and ship to island.
Yeah, there's a bit of a loading
but it is a smoother run, so to speak. Having that touch screen ability does help for does actually make the run a bit easier for newcomers as well.
Yes.
They're gathering up the pieces of map from the sarcophaguses. This is pretty much so they can obtain a key passcode to enter 10-Line Temple. As mentioned earlier, the stockpiling a few keys. It's 10-Line Temple is where they're going to come into play. So it's going to save them to pick up. They can ignore 2 keys in that temple, get through the stealth areas as best as they can, and be able to go straight into releasing the three main characters, or 3 of the main characters from their cells, so they can progress through it quicker.
All right, Mijati now just getting the last code there. What he was doing was grabbing that sword, which is way in the back, and through his second charge in 10-Line Island, he's actually gotten some decent RNG. He got 1 monster milk from the cactuses. He got 2 super pike balls from the skeletons, so he's in a good spot. Meanwhile, Terra looks like bought a super monster milk, probably purchased some extra flares. I just happened to catch that towards the end there. So again, they're just restocking on flares so that they're able to quickly return to the ship after they're done in each location. I don't know that he bought the 5 that I normally would go for here. And Terra, again, getting another monster milk, 2 more monster milks, and a bubble shield. I believe Terra is actually in a good spot from a milk perspective for the whole run at this point.
He's in a very good spot. For what I noticed, I say he's still 2 flares short of the run, so he decided to take a safer aspect to ensure that he had stronger milks to back him up. But I believe he's got 2 super milks and something like 4 or 5 regular milks, and he only needs 4 overall in total. So he's all set for milks.
Yeah, he's very set for milks. I did see him get 1 super pike ball during his first charge to the sword. There's another super pike ball on the way back. Terra's got a pretty good inventory here, so keep an eye on how his boss fights will progress. Meanwhile, talking about 10-Line Temple, we've got Mijati, who's currently entering the second room. Ooh, good save, Mijati. You were going to get caught. So they're trying to get through here Metal Gear Shantae style, and the reason they don't want to get caught is because if you get caught, you're going to be taken back to the beginning of the room. It's a significant time loss anytime it happens, so you really don't want that to happen. And on that vertical climb, he realized at the very last second that he was about to get caught and wisely backed down that chain because he got caught, and looks like he's going to take this last room safe. I don't see the one cycle being set up here as he waits out that first guard.
Yeah, and those Mijati decided to grab the additional gems that are above the key.
Yes.
So I guess he's got something in mind for when he goes back to the shop. Probably just to be on a safeguard, so he can make sure he can pick up any loose items that he may not get through the RNG aspect.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, there's only a couple of spots left. Yeah. Yeah, I don't blame him in this particular regard of taking it safe. Again, the time loss can be pretty substantial, especially in that last room, which I believe costs you about 45 seconds if you get caught there, because you have to go all the way back through the rooms that you've been through before again. So you really don't want to have that happen.
It depends on which guard catches you in that last room, but if you get caught by the last one, it's something like a minute to a minute and 5 seconds that it will cost you for the run. So it's pretty substantial. So hopefully Terra will not get caught as he traverses through.
Yep, got through the vertical room, is now collecting some extra gems as well. So I don't know that Terra is fully aware of what his inventory has already. I think maybe he thinks he's a little short on some super pike balls. So he's just making sure he's going to have that extra safety, or maybe planning to potentially have to purchase another auto potion, even though he's got his one right now. Not sure, so we'll have to keep a close eye on that. In the meantime, Mijati is currently finishing up Tanline Temple. He's freed all of our friends, which I'd like to point out were all kidnapped within a span of 30 minutes, while the official princess went to the store. And apparently the royal vizier there is not too keen or bright on what his princess looks like, considering all the ladies there were mistaken for our portly princess.
I mean, how can you make that mistake? She's only gone for like 20 minutes as well, I think.
Yeah, 30 minutes, but I think he needs some glasses, Turkey. We'll just say he might want to get his prescription checked.
Should have gone to Specsavers. I hate myself just for saying.
All right, so Mijati has gotten the ruins open. The golden pickaxe apparently is a super strong item that makes workers work fast, and they got those ruins taken down in record time. Mijati is taking a moment to kill that last Scorp Gal, but only got a 5 gem, which is the more common drop from there. I'm not sure. I think he is hurting for items a little bit, but he's not terrible. But I think he's just hoping for a little additional supplemental RNG to help him out. Again, he did grab those gems at 10 lines, so I think at least he's got himself backed up and ready to go.
Yeah, I think he's just a little short on the milk side.
Yeah, he got a monster milk and a bubble shield just out of the first 2 cactuses in block room, so he's now making his way down through the purple block room, and he's getting drops everywhere. Another bubble shield, wow. Oh no! Oh, he takes a hit from the cactus into the spike ball. Oh, so now he's got to basically go back down through the room. Fortunately, the blocks don't respawn. It's a little bit of a time loss. Very painful. That happened in my race, so I know the pain of that one. Oh, you just don't like to see that. Oh, this is an interesting strategy. Oh, don't. Oh, wow, he ate the scythe from the killer mantis. Never thought about using a pike ball in this room. Super monster milk and a super pike ball from the Scorp Gals in the gauntlet room. That's actually really good RNG, so that'll certainly, I think, help Mijati feel a little bit better about what's going on in his inventory. As he tries to set up for the 1 cycle crusher, not quite. Yep, that was a good call. He would have gotten smushed there if he'd have kept going, so wisely choosing to take a second to pop into one of those little alcoves and take it safe.
Yeah, much wiser call.
Yep, and Terra just now entering Catacombs, so again, it's still a relatively close race. I see Terra kind of grabbing that extra little bit of gems right inside the entrance before progressing in. But Terra's now in our Squid Baron fight.
Yeah, what they'll be able to do with the Squid Baron battle is, because he works based on a cycle phase, so he's always pretty much scripted throughout his battle. So they'll be aiming to take him down before he starts his eating phase. Basically so they can manipulate the beginning of the second phase when they cracked the shell open, so he'd start eating straight away and be able to whale massive amount of damage onto him, being able to bring the fight down quicker.
Yeah, Mijati opting to go the faster strat actually, and took him out before he actually started his second charge. So knowing that, obviously this is kind of where the experience kicks in. He floated over him before he broke the armor off, because Squid Baron starts the charge cycle again, and then as soon as that's done, he goes into the eating phase, knocks him out very quickly. That was a really good fight for Mijati. Terra trying to do one cycle crusher.
Fight out himself.
Yep, so did not get the one cycle either. That setup was a little bit off as well. Terra also being wise and getting out of the way of the crusher. So good to see. Meanwhile, Mijati gets the map to the next island, but you're going to see him take a detour. It's a really quick trip back to Scuttletown, which is good. A lot of runners tend to forget sometimes that they need to make this pit stop before they go forward here. Meanwhile, I'm going to check on Terra really quick just to see how his fight is going. Looks like it's off to a decent start. Looks like he's using full buffs. All right, so killed him during the second charge, which is great. That's perfect. So he'll be set up for getting a lot of damage in during the Squid Bear and eating phase.
Yeah, Mijati will be in doing mud bogs now. This is usually a casual nightmare, but as long as he can keep his string of speed boosted, he should be okay. Just got to make sure to watch out for the ceiling areas, just so he doesn't bonk his head.
Yep, he'll be going in there now. Terra just finishing up with the Squid Bear. Really good fight for Terra as well. I didn't see any major flaws there. So both of them having really smooth.
Phase 2.
Yep. I'd say both are having really good boss fights throughout this run so far. And now we're gonna keep an eye on Mijati's charge here. Oh, he bonks almost instantly. Fortunately, that's not one of the more dangerous spots where you get mobbed. If that happens a little bit later, that could spell some trouble within this segment. Right?
Definitely. Most of the enemies in this area will do half a heart of damage to our runners. So the last thing they want to do is get caught up in a cluster of them and, well, take heavy damage.
Yeah, and you get juggled around pretty quick because, again, you get swarmed really hard. No major issues after that initial bonk from Mijati. Made it all the way through to Hexor here, so we'll be handing over the Death Mask, which is what Terra's picking up right now from Bolo in Scuttletown. And Mijati will be moving on into our Village of Lost Souls, which, other than the True Pirate Master fight, is my favorite music in the game. We've already established Turkey likes the Run Run Roddy Tops theme. Wink, wink. So Mijati right now, what he's doing is he's running around here. He's got to pick up these coins. So he's going to start with the blue coin. He'll probably heading up to the green coin, and then we still have one more coin to get. And this is, again, necessary for pressing on with the story here. These items lead to the ultimate game of RNG. Turkey, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and set us up for gamers.
Oh, the gamers, the fun bunch of lads there. So basically, yeah, they've collected the coins up, and they're going to be having a game of heads and tails. Fun, riveting adventure stuff. But pretty much what they'll be doing is they'll be mashing heads, because as Nori alluded to, it is purely RNG, and it's up to the gamers as they want it, and what they want to do. Thankfully, though, there is a safeguard that's been put in there, so if they fail the gamers 3 times, then on the 4th, it will be a guaranteed victory. And then they'll be able to move forward and progress.
Yep. Yeah, thankfully that safeguard is there. Otherwise, you could spend quite an amount of time because of the RNG for that. So, way forward, though being brutal and giving us RNG wasn't that cruel and leave us hanging there forever in doing that. So, Mijati just got his red coin. He'll be now on the way back to deal with these said gamers. Terra made it through Mudbog pretty okay. I didn't see any major issues there. He's got full health, so
not nice and smooth, to be fair. We have a prediction of tails going on.
But then he kissed.
Well, we're hoping that don't happen, but you never know.
But Terra instantly kissing that Naga in the door. Ooh, that's half a heart. That's half of your life, actually. That's 4 points of damage that he just took, and it doesn't get any easier from here. But he is showcasing one of the animation skips using a lobster tail to pick up that blue coin. It's a little bit faster to just consume an item as you're picking up it, because again, it's faster than the collection animation. I'm going to talk about the damage output here. So this is where the run starts to get a little bit scary, especially if you're running on 2 hearts. Because again, these Nagas and these Reapers that you see, they're 4 points of damage, 1 full heart, and the ghosts in here can hit you for 2. These archers can hit you for, I believe it's 2. It could be 3. I think it's 2. but that damage adds up. If
yes.
Yeah, I mean, it all adds up if you really sit there taking hit after hit. So you really want to try avoiding taking damage here, and it just gets a little bit more difficult as we go on. Right, setting up for another animation skip.
Really good gamers there, or pretty good gamers there. I think it was like 7 or 8, so not too bad.
Yeah, you got trolled a little bit, but nothing too terrible as he's now going into the Oubliette of Suffering.
Let's see if Terra has better luck with the gamers.
All right, so I want to talk about the Oubliette of Suffering really quick. This dungeon's pretty long in a casual playthrough. This is where you would normally pick up the Risky's boots. This is where I'd like to say in the 100% normal speed run that it tends to pick up speed, at least once you get to that particular point. But the Risky boots and the Risky shuffling, which you've seen these runners doing like a really tight back and forth, by the way, it actually, if you're holding the analog stick one way and overwriting with the D-pad another, so holding left with one and tapping right with the other, it actually keeps the momentum as if you're on a straight charge. And then once Shantae goes blue, you're able to trigger her charge. So that Risky shuffle allows us to skip 90% of this dungeon. You don't have to do all the convoluted stuff, deal with any of the elevator puzzle, anything. And right now you can see Mijati just instantly making it to the boss, and he's taking on Dagron and has full buffs for it. So I predict that this should be pretty good, actually. If he doesn't 2-cycle, he did. Good, excellent Dagron from Mijati there. Having the full powered buffs, easy 2-cycle.
Yeah, that's the most ideal kill you can get with Dagron.
Yeah. Had no problems, and Dagron went wide both turns. Dagron's movement is always back and forth. He'll start on one side, he'll swing from the other. The RNG moment there will be if he stops in the middle or he comes all the way out to about where Shantae was. You'll notice Mijati went as far out to the arena, about to the outside pillars, to see exactly what Dagron was going to do. And again, got lucky that he went wide both times and was able to knock him down, and the full power buffs, that was an easy fight for him. All right, so Mijati now, or Terra basically now going through. He's getting ready to go do his Dagron fight. As Mijati basically high-fived him on the way out, pretty much, I think.
High five.
High five, and then they're gone. So he's now flaring out of here. You don't want to go backwards in Mudbog Island. Trust me, it's no fun. So having that pirate flare is super good to have. And he's going to immediately dive into our next island, Frostbite. Turkey, if you could talk about Frostbite Island here.
Oh yeah, Frostbite is pretty straightforward. They'll pretty much be trying to charge all the way across, float over everything as best as they can to make their way up to Propeller Town. During the out of bounds runs, we'd usually skip the majority of Propeller Town, but for this one, you'll be able to see a bit more of it, and there's some really good movement tech going on as well. So hopefully they'll do well there.
Right, Terra is currently starting his fight with Dagron. Had a little bit of a rough start, didn't knock him down in the first one, but did get him on the second one. Looks like he's using a super pike ball and a regular monster milk for this. Going in, I think he should get here. If he gets him down, it should be a good 4-cycle. Yep, just barely got him. He was about to leave, but good 4-cycle fight for Terra. That fight can go horribly wrong when you make a mistake, especially later in the fight, but Terra handled it extremely well. Still keeping pretty good pace with Mijati here by having some good boss fights. So
yeah, the more damage Dagron takes, the faster he swoops in. So the last thing you want to do is take a hit when he swoops, because he does about 3 points of damage. And during his fast cycles, if he knocks you down, it's very promising that he's going to hit you a second time. So that's a lot of damage to take.
Yeah,
so
it's five to six points depending on which part of him actually hits you. So. All right, so on Mijati's screen, you're going to see him going through Propeller Town here. You can see these really long rooms with, everything. So the one thing that this game currently, at least in a normal standpoint, doesn't expect you to have is the cannon. I mean, obviously, I think that it was made this way on purpose for the pirate mode as well, because you can see how smoothly he's able to get through these rooms just by utilizing that cannon, as well as the charge and the hat. So he's just kind of navigating through just some minor techniques, whether you kind of skip out on using more of the airflow, which is what the game really expects you to do, at least in a normal, because you'll have the hat. to take those updrafts to get up, but the cannon kind of helps us to send them a little bit quicker. So you can get through this just a little bit more, but everyone's favorite part is that really long room that you're just sailing over everything on the airflows and all that. So he's getting close to at least his end of his first trip here, as Terra is now starting his charge through Frostbite. I'll kind of point out some things also that's very dangerous about that as well. The ice slopes in Frostbite Island are very tricky. Like, even when you're charging, if you hit a wrong input, stop moving, whatever, you slide all the way back to the bottom of that slope. And what makes that super dangerous are these wolves that you see Terra currently dodging and avoiding. Those do 6 points of damage. That's 1.5 hearts. So you can see in a 2-heart run just how quickly things can go against you if you're not familiar, you're having a really off day and you're platforming, because this latter part of the run can just tear you apart from a health perspective. So again, both runners very familiar with it, navigating it just fine. Terra is now doing the chain climb up to Propeller Town, and Mijati is going back to visit our good friend Roddy Tops.
Yes, yes, they are. So, sorry, I've blanked for a minute what I was about to say. Yeah, Mijati, as you say, is make his way to Rocky Tops. They got a lost soul after defeating Dagran, and zombies know a lot of things about souls, it seems. So, he gets it deciphered, we find out it belongs to Joe, and has a very stylish mustache, I might add.
Yeah.
And for those who may not remember him, Joe was the poor soul that got turned to stone earlier on by Sky's dad. So, we'll be able to return that to him and be able to push the plot forward.
Yeah, but first a pit stop before we bring our friend Joe back to life. Mijati will be going back through Scarecrow Fields. He's opting to not charge through anything, so it seems like his items were good. He was on target to get a Heart Squid of Shame, but he caught himself and backed out of it. That was very scary for Mijati. No one wants the Heart Squid of Shame. And he's going to be heading all the way back over to the palace here, because the sword that we picked up way back at the beginning with Tanline Island before we did the Metal Gear Shantae section, we got to return it to this nice pink-shirted, red-haired fellow, Branson. And by the way, Mijati got your favorite trick, Turkey.
Hey! Good.
So we can now call Mijati's run officially valid. He's picking up one of the favorite little meme tricks of the runners of this game. Oh, Terra bonking on that charge out of the last save guy. May have forgotten to buffer his jump there, but didn't.
He also fortunately face planted one of the spike blocks, making his way up there as well. So that's going to cost him some time, but it's not over till it's over.
Oh. All right, so we have everything turned back to normal. The reason we give that sword is so these new recruits, the girls that we remember from Saliva Island, they've joined the army and they're helping out. Joe is back to life. He's also part of it. And then the module we pick up from Bolo that just happened here not too long ago on Terra's screen. We hand that all over to the Ammo Baron. He tries to shoot the palace, but Bolo, the true hero of Pirate's Curse, messed up the targeting module, and that shot missed by a significant margin. But lucky for us, it opened up our last Den of Evil. So Mijati is now on his way in there now. Again, kind of like Oblietta Suffering, where we just fought Dagron, we're able to skip a good chunk of this one too, because the pirate equipment allows us to get necessary keys, and the Risky Shuffle makes it even more simple by being able to grab a third that we'll need to be able to progress through the room and get to the boss without dealing with the rest of the rest of the dungeon.
Yeah, the boss for this lad they'll be coming up to is pretty much the biggest RNG we can, or one of the bigger RNG boss fights that is throughout the game. You'll notice when they get there that the Steel Maggot, he's going to have a couple of buttons on his back, and the idea is to hit the button cycle in a particular order to open the tail so they can score the damage out. However, as it is RNG, the pattern changes in every run, and it also changes after every time the tail is exposed. So they're just going to try and hit which buttons they can, memorise the order, get that tail exposed, and then, well, bye-bye Steel Maggot, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. So Mijati's entering that fight right now. Had a nothing major. At least he didn't eat an ice block on the way out from the third key. So again, as Turkey alluded to, you can see the red buttons here on Steel Megat's back. He does have some bubbles, so he's going to probably favor to stay up in the air and try to hit a button second time if he's wrong. He's getting a little bit of bad RNG here, but not anything too bad that he hasn't learned for this. So we'll see how much damage. Oh, he misses with the pike ball alignment, so be a little bit slower at least on this first phase. But again, with the Super Monster Milk, that should help negate it a little bit. He still potentially could get him on the next round as long as he can get that pike ball in position as well for extra damage.
Yeah, fortunately, if you go with the Super Monster Milk, Steel Maggot should go down in 2 cycles.
Yeah.
Even if the Super Fireball doesn't hit.
Yep. And just like that, goodbye Steel Maggot.
Rest in peace.
He says. He's a tank.
Well, sorry.
La-dee-da. All right, so Terra's now entering or getting ready to enter the dungeon. Just got blasted open on his screen, so he'll be making his way to go deal with the fight. Still pretty close between these two runners, especially considering, you know, that Terra being relatively newer to the game. He's I believe he's on PB pace as well, so he potentially is looking at least getting a PB out of this run, which is going to should still make him feel pretty darn happy when it comes down to it. As Mijati hands over the last map, and we're going to go to the Lonely Grave, which is just an island. It's not going to have anything super special here, at least nothing super special in my eyes, but I'm sure the characters will disagree, as you'll see here shortly. Yep, big spoopy ghost. So we've come here just in time for the Pirate Master to revive, and he's apparently not too happy with Risky Boots, as he basically snags her and disappears. At this point, we're a little at a loss of what to do as a character, but well, the only thing we can do is go back to the boat. And obviously, you'll notice Scuttletown is not looking too pretty. It's a little dark and spooky there now, so Mijati now starting his final charge to the Pirate Master's Palace. And we'll see what method he decides to go for. It looks like he's avoiding most of the monsters, so he'll have a little bit of a slower charge through. Ooh, God, that was another close one on the Squid Heart, buddy. He almost got another heart. I think he does. I think he's teasing on purpose. But at any rate, you know, normally it doesn't really matter. I don't think one being faster or the other. Whether you take the hits during the course through the fields or if you just do it at the blocks, not the same. But Mijati is now currently starting the tower climb, and Turkey, if you wouldn't mind, talk about the tower climb?
Alright, so the tower climb, what they're going to be doing is they're going to basically be skipping the Pirate Master trials. In order to do this, the hat itself, when you use it, it actually pushes you up a pixel or 2, or frame or 2, I think it is. Pixel. So with the correct timing on the cannons at the peaks of each of their respective jumps, in combination with the hat, they'll be able to reach the higher platforms that they're not supposed to be able to do. And that will at least save them all the time going through these nasty pirate trials, because trust me, they're not friendly.
No, and Mijati's struggling on a couple there, but he's not doing bad. He's struggling a little bit. His cannon timing looks to be just a little off, but it's not terrible. He's only missing each ledge by like a pixel or 2, and he's getting an about 3rd try average, so it's not bad. He's nearly at the top, in fact, right now, and yeah, again, as Turkey said, you don't want to go through the trials. They're platforming nightmares. Just looks like
Terra's been having a bit of a struggle with the Steel Maggot there, trying to get the correct pattern going on the second phase.
Yeah, but he finished strong. Yep.
He got through it.
All right, Mijati is starting our fight with the Pirate Master, and again, I think he's got really good items, so he's probably going to go all out here, including his auto potions. So what you're going to see is hopefully just good RNG right now. Pirate Master, you'd like to see him go between like one of the outsides in the middle consistently. He does like to go back and forth a lot, so you lose a little bit of DPS opportunity having to chase him down. The bubble negates the projectile attacks, which, by the way, would one-shot Shantae at this point. Those would be 8 points of damage from one of those bullets. In the meantime, though, you can hug him as much as you want, as long as you've got that auto potion thing going on. He does only half of your health at that point. But really good fight for Mijati. He finishes with an official SRL time of 54 minutes and 20 seconds. So GG for Mijati.
GG Mijati. Nice clean fight with the Pirate Master.
Yeah, there really wasn't anything bad there. I mean, I didn't see much. He did take like one knockback, but nothing too terrible.
No, and as I also may notice, he was jumping like when the Pirate Master was teleporting. Mijati was jumping consistently up and down with him because the idea was timing those jumps right with your hair whip. After you strike directly with the hair whip and then jump, it cancels out the remaining animation of the hair whips. So it's not a major time save, but it's just those extra few frames that they can save during the fight.
Yep. Terra looks like just had to grab one little extra item for the upcoming Pirate Master fight, so he's now doing his charge there. He's looking to opt to at least take a few hits on things here. Ooh, teasing that heart squid again. I'm telling you, these guys they're wanting to be they want a little bit of shame, but no, they dodged it just fine. It's no big deal. All right, so Terra going in, well, about to go into the Pirate Master's Palace. We'll see how his climb goes.
Yeah, if he could have a good climb here with the rest of the run he's been doing, I believe he's on the sub-hour pace, so it's going to be a pretty sizable PB for him.
Yeah, I mean, his PB right now is just over an hour, so if he gets a decent climb here, doesn't have any major issues with Pirate Master fight, we could see a really good PB out of him, so looking forward to catching the end of this run. Oh, good, he gets the first ledge, no problem. And Turkey, if you want, I can pull Mijati in. Looks like Mijati's looking to get a quick interview while we keep an eye on what's going on with Terra.
Yeah, let's bring him in.
All right. Hey, Mijati, GG.
GG, buddy.
Hello.
Hello.
I hate everything right now.
Oh, I don't know why you would hate everything. I mean, I thought you had a pretty solid run. I didn't see anything too major, just a few extra shopping trips more than I thought, but your RNG wasn't terrible. I know you had to supplement a few items here and there, but
it was only 2 shopping trips, so that was all planned. No extra trips, just the 2. So I skipped the one on during Tanline Island and did it when I went back to get the mask for Mudbog instead.
No, there's a decent run out there, buddy. I mean, it's your opening race for the group, so take your first win. Going into this tournament, must be feeling pretty good.
Pleased to win. Not at all happy with the race. Everything at the start was awful. A really good ammo baron, but I don't know, everything just went bad. Someone managed to gold split spiderweb somehow, but who knows how that happens.
Yeah, you may be surprised to hear, but both you and Terra had the exact same ammo baron fight. The RNG was no different.
Wow, that is surprising. That was a really good pattern. I wasn't expecting that first Red Bull. It took me off guard.
Well, at least you didn't take it to the face and lose that opportunity and reacted well. So, all right, we got Terra just finishing up here. He's just started his fight with Pirate Master. So we'll see how this plays out for him. Also has full buffs for this fight as well, so shouldn't have too much trouble with it. Oh. Got a little close there on that middle teleport, though, and takes a shot, so... But I know he still has his auto potion.
Yeah, I was about to say.
He just leveraged his auto potion there. He's opting to stand on one ledge and kind of take another hit because of that, no problem, but should have him down and done. All right, GG to Terra, who finishes with an official SRL time of 58 minutes and 15 seconds. That's a major PB for Terra.
I believe that is, let's see, a good 2 to 3 minutes there, I think.
Yeah, on SRL timing, he just PB'd by 3 minutes and 37 seconds. I believe it'd be about the same or really close to that from the leaderboard. So really good run from Terra. Really, really good run. That's a good PB.
Oh, he ain't going to complain at that.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, so
Mijati, any other thoughts on your run? I know you said that you weren't too happy about things after the beginning. We're going to see if Terra will want to come in for an interview. I'm just waiting to see if he pops in on the waiting room. So
I just took everything really simple. Like Tanline, didn't bother risking any of the quick strats there, just in case I messed them up. Just taking all the safeties I could.
Yeah, I couldn't blame you there. I mean, we know how painful that could be getting caught in there. So, did catch, a lot of the safety strats there, just waiting out that one cycle room. And then also just knowing that the one cycle crusher was going to get you.
Yeah, I thought that was off, so just didn't want to risk it. There's no way I was going to get that.
Okay.
Well, I mentioned in the chat there for might be bringing Goofy into this as well to translate for Terra.
Yeah, if Terra would like to do an interview, and obviously Goofy wants to come in and translate, I'm fine with that. I don't want to keep things going too long here, though, because, well, we don't have anything on this channel right away afterwards. Well, we do, actually, so I don't want to take too much time here, but we do have a little bit of time for interview if Terra wants to join.
It doesn't look like he's jumping in there.
All right, while we're waiting, I'm just going to mention after this race, we have a Link to the Past randomizer daily that's going to be happening on this channel. Starts at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I know that this is a recent announcement on bringing back these particular daily races to the Speed Gaming channel. So definitely get hyped for that. Also on Speed Gaming 1, they have an upcoming Zelda 1 any% race. So you can also check that out if you're fiending for Zelda. It's like Speed Gaming's got you covered tonight. So definitely a couple of really good things planned from either channel, depending on what you're looking for. Yeah,
and be sure to follow our runners here today, both Mijati and Terra, putting in very good performances. Again, congratulations to Terra for a very big PB. Sorry, and everything's gone well there. Also, if I remember rightly, we have two races scheduled for tomorrow?
Tomorrow, for Shantae, we have
Friday,
nothing.
Sorry.
No, we have nothing. We have two
Friday.
races scheduled on Friday. We have Cake Sauce versus Jangle Storm, which actually breaks the seal on our group, our Roddy Tops group. No one's raced from that group yet, so they'll be breaking the seal there for a 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time race on March 23rd. And then also that day, later that night, I return for my second race versus Cabbage Game. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. So I'm looking forward to doing that. We're not sure if that's scheduled to be on Speed Gaming at this point, but those are our next upcoming races. Also, follow this other commentator of mine, Mr. TKY619, Mr. World Record holder within this game. Very great runner, very entertaining gentleman, I believe. So.
Yeah, and of course, be sure to follow Mr. Norimaki. He started at the same time as myself. Very entertaining and has a lot of insight into the game as well. So be sure to show your support to him as well. And if you're ever interested in looking into the game, check him up. Apart from that, I don't think Terra's going to be joining us. So any final words you'd like to share? Oh no, wait a minute.
We just got him in there, and I'm going to bring in Goofy to translate. So, hey Terra, congrats on the. Hey, GG on the run, and congrats on the big PB, man. Good job.
Yeah, GG.
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Thanks. Wow.
That was really good. Yeah, it was good to ask. I mean, obviously, coming into this race, this is your second race in. I mean, you had a very good race with Goofy in your first matchup, very close race. And now you come into this one and get a big major PB. You must be feeling super hyped right now.
I'm going to translate Terra again. Bueno,
Yep.
Terra, te dijeron que hiciste buenas carreras. La primera, la que tuvimos, y la segunda que que también hiciste una buena run y que, sacaste un PB y que te preguntaron si debes estar sintiendo bastante mejor con el progreso que estás teniendo, algo más o menos así.
Fue muy buena la run hoy día, pero sí me sentí un poco decepcionado con la escalada. Creo que ahí perdí, ahí se nota, perdí un minuto. Perdí un minuto, así que pudo haber sido mucho mejor el PB de hoy día. Pero sí, me siento muy feliz con lo que pasó el lunes y con lo que pasó hoy, que hubo una gran diferencia de tiempo. Hoy día sí pude ser más constante, podríamos decir. Y fue una muy buena carrera. Muy buena carrera.
Okay, he said that he's real happy for these races, and the first one and this one, and he felt a little bit disappointed on the climb because he lost 1 minute there in the climb. He said that he could be way much better than the PB in this one, and he's really happy for the PB and all this progress, and he feel more consistent with the game.
Yeah, I did notice that the tower did struggle just a little bit, but perseverance, you got through it, you made it through, and you still got a pretty good PB out of it. So, you know, that practice, or that tower takes some practice, it takes some time to learn, but I have watched him grow since the beginning, pretty much. So I'm really proud to see how he's progressed so far.
Te dijeron que, bueno, el tema de la escalada toma bastante práctica, es una estrategia muy precisa y que él está orgulloso de cómo te ha visto progresar durante el juego, sobre todo con este PB.
Gracias. Sí, de hecho creo que dejé de practicar esta parte de la cima y tendré que volver porque sí estoy fallando mucho y sí, puedo haber sido mucho mejor PB por eso.
You said that thanks, and well, you left practice that part of the run, and well, you going to back to practices the tower climb to get a better time, and well, and not lose way seconds like he did before, but he's really happy to what happened today in this race.
All right, sounds good. Well, again, GG to you, Mijati, GG to you, Terra. I don't have any further questions for you guys. Turkey, if you don't have anything else, then I think we can call this one a race and put it in the books.
Yeah, I believe we're good. And again, GG to both of you. You did very well in this. Kicking off your race as well, Mijati, getting yourself on the scoreboard as well. So, yeah, I believe we are pretty much set. Any final thoughts for anyone, I guess?
Yeah, thanks to the hosts and for you two for commentating.
Anytime, guys. Anytime. And yes, definitely big thank you to thank you to Speed Gaming for hosting our event. We really appreciate it. And again, for those that are looking for more Speed Gaming action to watch, we do have the link to the past randomizer daily happening later today, about 30 minutes from now on this channel, and then we'll also have the Zelda 1 any percent going on Speed Gaming 1. So appreciate everyone for coming out and watching, and we will catch you next time.
Yeah, take care, guys, and catch you for the next race on Friday, hopefully.
Ooh.
Ay, huevón.